G'day and welcome to part 20 of fixing this Jaguar. Yeah, we're getting serious with the engine, sort of. I don't know if this is serious or not. If you know your way around mechanics, a head job isn't that serious. You know, you're not taking out the engine and actually rebuilding it. You're just doing half the engine with the engine still in place. Nevertheless, we've taken the rocker cover off. We've disconnected the cam sprockets. I didn't show you any of this, unfortunately, because I was too stressed to screw it up. You know, I'm not an authority on how to take these apart. You should watch the video by Living with a Classic. I think I've insulted him in the past before. I take that back because no, he actually does go through in depth how to fix these, how to take the cylinder head off without screwing everything up. So I highly recommend the Living with the Classic episode if you want to know how to get to this point. He can do a much better job than I to explain it, and you know, he actually does it properly. So I found that someone's been in here before because I've seen some like I saw some baling wire that I use in here, which is not Jaguar factory spec. So this cylinder head's been off before. So what's happening right now is I've got the cylinder head bolts unbolted, and I'm getting ready to lift that off now. It's necessary to loosen the timing chain up here to actually get the sprockets inboard to the engine. So you're going to make yourself a tool. Like the manual actually tells you, make this tool with these specifications. It's like, alright man. So I made this. It's an angle grinder removal, you know, disc removal tool for your angle grinder, and I've just like cut it up and re-welded it into the shape I needed. The distance between here and here is about 32.55 millimeters, or 1 inch, not 9/32 in the imperial speak. It's very odd measurements, but you sort of I made a spanner like this so it will fit onto the front sprocket loosener just fine. And then to line everything up, a while back I made this. It's a tool that checks the top dead center of the camshafts. That just fits on the top here to this cutout in the cam. That lines up and then hits the bottom surface here, and that tells you that this cam is going to be fine to remove. So I 3D printed that a few months ago and it's coming to use now. So when taking the cylinder head bolts off, I've kept everything in order. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's an order to this that you find in the manual. I've got the front 4 bolts here, which is well, for the front of the cylinder head. Those are the main bolts. But then you see here, these studs actually came out, and you can see that the stud is actually corroded and snapped. And that was by cylinder 2, the one with the 0 psi. So maybe this had something to do with the 0 psi issue, as in this head stud has actually corroded. Okay, so that's where I'm at now. Unfortunately, I can't actually lift the cylinder head off. You take it off with the intake manifold, but with everything unbolted, just as I showed you, I still can't take it off. This is a one bloody heavy head, and to add, this is stuck, so it's heavy and stuck. So what I've got down here, and you can't see the whole thing, but I've got a scissor jack here that I'm just applying one click at a time to. It makes me bloody nervous doing this. So I've got that under tension, and then I'm taking this mallet here. I'm trying to loosen things up. In the meantime, I'm just doing this, just because these studs seem corroded in the head, so that's not healthy. I had the corroded studs and alloy with thermostat housing. Whoever owned this engine didn't use coolant, and I don't know why people don't use coolant. It's good shit. Alright, so I'm getting serious now. I got the engine hoist strapped onto the manifold, and I'm using a crowbar on the off side to get it off. The problem is the fact that it is really bloody stuck, and that presents itself a problem because it's actually just lifting up the engine onto, it's lifting it by the engine mounts. So I've got this crane here, the seatbelt tied on the other end, lifting one side of the manifold up, off the head up. I've just been giving it some love taps with the hammer on the studs, make sure it so I think we're going to have to leave it there. So I'm going to give it one more pump of the hoist, half pump. That's under a lot of tension right now. It's half sticking out my driveway now and it's getting a bit dark, so unfortunately, chuck a rag over it. Now, I've had to push the car back under cover because I was just lifting the whole engine up, trying to get the cylinder head off. So yeah, progress has been slow because this has been quite a challenge because the head's seized on there. So I pushed it back under cover, pushed the crane away, and I've just been working on getting these studs unstuck from the cylinder. I figured out that if I shake the manifold like this, I can see that these studs move independently of the head, and so therefore they must be free, and the one that's not free is just one stud left right here. But I've been trying to unseize it, put a nut on top of the head stud. Cylinder 2 here has 0 psi, and looking at this head stud, that head stud snapped out, that one's stuck, that one's free. I think it might just be corroded head studs that's causing a head gasket issue. This is my current theory until I get this bloody head off. But my running theory now is that these studs are corroded, let the cylinder head gasket go, and that's why this is no pressure anymore. But again, I won't know anything until this head's off and I can inspect it. Okay, so here's my current setup. This head is properly stuck to this block. I've gotten some movement out of this head in relation to the block. So what I've done is I went back to U-Puller, grabbed some seat belts, wrapped it back around the inlet manifold, and I was going to wrap it around the exhaust manifold studs and use long bolts, but as you can see, these are grade 5 high tensile bolts from Mitre 10, and they just bend, and this one's actually snapped in the head. So it's got a snapped head stud, exhaust stud there that I'll need to get out at some other point because I can't get a drill in to unscrew it, but it doesn't need to come out now anyway. So I'll show you what the process has been for the past 2 weeks, pretty much. What we'll do is slacken it off, bang the head down, starts movement, and then just jack it up again. What I've done here is this belt's wrapped around the inlet manifold. This belt I can arrange around the exhaust, so I can have it going across from making this and this the jack point, or this and this the jack point, or this and this the jack point. At the moment I've got the jacking point focused on what I believe to be the seized end of the head. I'm going to try and get this stud out. I think it's this one here. That's how taut these are. And and that's where we're going to have to just leave it for the time being. I can't get the cylinder head off, and there's not really much I can do about it. I've just been working on this. This has become a whole project on its own, so I do apologize if you're expecting to find out what's wrong with the 4.2. I don't know. I'm thinking back to the whole snap cylinder studs, like that they're so corroded that maybe that's what's blown cylinder 2 out. That's my working theory right now because of how much grief it's been giving me. But as you can see, I haven't not been trying. I really have been trying to get the cylinder head off, so we could find out more. But at any rate, thank you very much for watching, and hopefully next time I'll have the cylinder head off. And yeah, sorry about that. Thank you very much for watching. Update, amendment. Later today, I just started screwing around with the hoist underneath the intake manifold, and after snapping these 2 studs here with the seat belt, I got really sick of it. So I figured out a way to finally get this bottle jack in between the rib and the alloy head casting, and look at this. We have finally got airspace. It's lifting. Everything was unbolted. Oh my god. So what I'm essentially doing is that's strapped to the driver's side, that's bottle jack to the passenger side. So we just lift it up a little bit, on the passenger side. Of course, this can't really be good for the head, but you know, it's really stuck on there. So we might actually find out what's wrong with this engine after all. So I'm making lots of progress now. You can see through the head. You can already see the horrors that await. But no diagnostics yet until this head's completely off. So I'm gonna keep going. But yeah, packing material like wood here just to hold it up while I shift the jack from one point to the next. And then that's just for stabilization at this point. That's doing all the heavy lifting right there. My good little boy, my good little 10-ton bottle jack. You've done a lot, including lifting out the rear end of this bastard of a Jag. So what a versatile little tool.